Hi, my friends. I just wanted to reiterate some facts about the eunuch prophecy. Brian Bowen Ministries, Brian himself, who is a minister, who is gay, who is a Christian, who has spent 30 years going to different shepherds and pastors and ministers throughout the years and showing them the eunuch prophecies, and not one could deny the fact that the eunuch of ancient days was today's LGBT and Q community. It is the homosexual of today. And if you look in the ancient artwork or the ancient histories, there's all kinds of the Ming Dynasty, the Vietnam Dynasty, all these dynasties that had eunuchs in them, and there's a whole list that you can look up on Google. Let's see. You can look up holy homosexuals. Anyway, all kinds of ancient stories about the eunuch. What kind of relationships did they have? Most of them were considered the homosexual of today, kind of like, hi, I'm from West Hollywood, and or I'm from San Francisco, and you might assume that that person is a homosexual. This is kind of like the same thing. Hi, I'm a eunuch. Could be a homosexual, and it was no big deal. All right. These eunuchs were placed in very wealthy families in charge of harems. I've talked about this on other videos. They had titles. Most of them were, some were born with all of their body parts. They just didn't have any affinity or desire to be with any women. They didn't want to marry. They didn't want anything to do with them. If you put a girl on a eunuch, they would groan. Okay, they just didn't have, they had no desire. Okay. And that happens today with gay men. You put, a woman with them, they have no desire. Straight man, that's another story, okay? So, you can find, and I'll try to maybe do another video on a little bit more on the eunuch. But the reason why I'm bringing this up today is because you have a lot of churches out there still who are preaching that, hey, we want you to come to our church and everything, and hey, if you're gay, we're all sinners, and we're all struggling in this world together. Let's just all try to get along. No, being a homosexual is not a sin. Okay, God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit have all accepted homosexuals. And I say that because even in the first church, the first gay man that was accepted was the Ethiopian eunuch. And he does have a name, and I never have it right in front of me to tell you what it is. I'll try to include that. And he went on he was baptized, he had joy, Philip was whisked away. Look at Acts 8. I think it's 24 through 40, the whole story of the Ethiopian eunuch and Philip. Philip was, he was healing people in Samaria. He was casting out demons, and the Holy Spirit appeared to him, an angel appeared to him to tell him to go down to Gaza and to interpret to the person who was reading, to go down there and to talk to the Ethiopian eunuch, because he was reading at the time Isaiah. So the eunuch prophecies starts in Deuteronomy, Isaiah. I would read 53 to 56, all the chapters, and goes to Matthew, goes to 1 Corinthians, 1 Timothy, and so forth, okay, and Acts 8. So when Jesus was talking to the disciples, and I'm looking at Matthew 19, they were talking about marriage, and Jesus and they were saying, the disciples were saying, okay, so the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And that means to divorce them, okay? And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read which made them at the beginning, made them male and female? And Jesus said, for this cause. Okay, that was Moses. Okay, that was Moses talking. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? That's Moses. Adam says, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. And then Jesus says, wherefore there are no more twain, but one flesh, and therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. So then they say to him, then why did Moses command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away, divorce her and leave her? And he said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, which means adultery in this case, and shall marry another, committed adultery, and whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery. And his disciples say unto him, if it's the case that if it is the case of man be so with his wife, it's not good to marry. And he says unto them, and he just kind of goes completely up, and he says, it seems, okay, and he says, not every man can receive this saying, save them to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb. There are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men, and there are some eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Okay, I have received it. All right. So, some Christians confidently assert that, hey, God didn't create homosexual people. It's not supposed to be that way. All right. It's the creation order argument that some Christians are very fond of saying, like one pastor I just listened to on a CD. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, to bolster their position. They cite words from Matthew 19:4 and 5, but they don't read the whole, chapter. Jesus answers, have you not read the one that made them at the beginning, made them male and female, and said, okay, so he's not even breaking it down. They don't even know how to break it down. That's Moses speaking when Adam is the one that deemed marriage in Genesis, and then Jesus talks about, therefore what God has joined together, let no man separate. So from the words, some Christians draw the conclusion that heterosexuality is the creation norm, and thus heterosexual marriage is the only legitimate way for people to form romantic relationships. But ironically, Jesus' own words in this very passage refute these conclusions. Refute. God, I can't talk today. Okay, so what did I just write down here? Okay, so Jesus' response. his disciples are disturbed by the strict teaching on divorce, okay? And they say, well, maybe it's better for a man not to marry a woman. So Jesus says, not everyone can accept this teaching, but only those to whom it is given. For there are eunuchs who have been so from birth. There are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by others. There are eunuchs who have been made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let anyone accept this who can. Matthew 19:11-12. But I like my Bible verse where it says, he that is able to receive it, let him receive it. So Jesus identifies 3 cases of men who should not marry women. Taking in these categories in reverse order, all right, let's just do this. Eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven. Those who forswear marriage to better serve God. Excuse me. Second, he mentions those who have been made eunuchs by others, apparent reference to castrated males. But Jesus mentions a 3rd category, eunuchs who were born that way. Some might argue, well, Jesus was referring to males born without testicles, but this is extremely rare, okay? Moreover, this interpretation ignores the term born eunuchs. Intrinsic, which is used in other literature of the time. One pastor said, well, if it's genetic, we all have genetic defects. Hello? No, that's not the case. God would not allow his children to be without someone to love, to have somebody in their life if they chose so. Not everybody is given the gift of celibacy, okay? And to continually reject them and say that I'm better than you, you're less than, is not right either, okay? Here, Jesus identifies the 3 classes of men who should not marry. Okay, so, moreover, the interpretation ignores the term of born eunuchs, which was used in other literature of the time. In the ancient world, including the ancient Jewish culture as reflected in the Talmud, natural or born eunuchs were not associated with missing testicles. They didn't think of them that way. Rather, they were associated with the stereotypically effeminate characteristics and behavior, just like the modern gay man or woman, and thought by Rabbi Eliezer, Eliezer, to be subject to cure, just like modern day gays, like, Exodus program that's sorely failed and has, really hurt and damaged a lot of homosexuals. Terrible program. Moreover, we have also seen eunuchs were commonly associated with homosexual desire. For a complete discussion of the term born eunuch, you can look at the early church, Welcome to Gay Man. That was the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts 8. That Philip went down to Gaza to explain what he was reading in Isaiah 53, which talked about the prophecy of Jesus Christ coming and being sent by God and to be the Messiah, but he would be crucified, and it tells about how he would be ostracized and oppressed, just like the eunuchs have been. Weren't allowed in the temple. He came all the way from Ethiopia to worship in the temple, and he was shunned, and he was kicked out as soon as he went in to bathe, before going into the temple. The running water that was there, they didn't let him in. They gave him the book of Isaiah, maybe something else, I'm not sure, but that's what he was reading when Philip came to see him. And Philip said, rather than saying, oh, you're a homosexual, don't you know you're sinning? No, he didn't do that. He didn't point out his sin to him. He pointed out his son to him. And that's what Jesus exactly wanted Philip to do, and for you to see it and hear it. Those who are able to receive it, receive it. That he pointed out Jesus to this man. And as soon as he saw water, he said, what's to prevent me from being baptized? And Philip says, do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God? And he said, yes, I believe Jesus is the Son of God. And so, therefore, he was baptized, and he came away joyful. He didn't come away a healed man.